coming into an all-around winner.
Yeah, you look at that last play, so many good things happening, Karan, just to piggyback off what you were saying, the patience by Rondo, the pass is perfect, all the attention on LeBron, the screens, everything about it. And big game, it's no one's going to even remember it, but that step back three with 3 minutes and 3 seconds left. By the way, 303 is the Denver area code. To put the Lakers up 8, we didn't know that'd be the last time they would score until 26 seconds. That right there looked like the dagger. That shot with the clock winding down.
Yeah, that was a big moments. Three as well.
Yeah.
Gave the Lakers a little cushion as Denver was coming back. But I haven't seen a player like AD, and by no means am I making a true comparison. But Karan talked about how no one could match up against AD. He is a problem because he has so much in his toolbox. Akeem Olajuwon was like that. Akeem Olajuwon had footwork. He had that 15-foot step back that you could not stop. And when he got but when he's decided to come off of that for the three-pointer, no center in the league can guard that. And it only takes a couple of seconds of a mistake for him to get that open shot.
It's interesting. The Lakers played so well in that first half. Karan looked at me and Brez and said, this is going to be a game because Denver was still hanging around within 10. Lakers went up 16, 8 minutes and 13 seconds left in that third quarter. Things got a little sloppy. Got to give that Denver defense credit. Lakers kind of stopped moving the basketball and sharing it. They stopped hitting shots. And just like that, the resilient Denver team gets back in this game, and they are on the brink of stealing it. And then AD hits that shot. The Lakers are now 34-4, Karan, when they shoot 35% or better from three. They did that tonight.
Yeah, I really, you got to tip your hat off to the Denver Nuggets defense and what they was able to, sustain for the second half this time. No foul trouble by they major forces from an offensive standpoint in Joker, I think Millsap, and also Murray. But also, I felt like they did a remarkable job being creatures of habit. The reason why they prevailed in that Clipper series was because they took over in the third quarter specifically. They did that tonight, and they was on their way to doing that and closing the game out until a guy by the name of AD said, nah. Not on my watch.
And that's why you need to have superstars on your team to win a championship. If you don't, you're just never going to win. You're not going to get this far. It's just plain and simple. And, James, 24 turnovers. You're going to look at that. But you're also going to look how Denver attacked the paint. Lakers were dominating that in the first half. That flipped. Denver won 38-34 in the paint. So Denver did a lot of good things where Frank Vogel and that staff are going to be able to look and say, hey, yeah, we won this game, but we got to be better in Game 3.
Yeah. How many knockout punches do you have to give someone before you knock them out? The Lakers gave them one big knockout punch, up 15-16. Denver comes back. Lakers go back up, give them another knockout punch. They go up 10-11. Here comes Denver again. They're not going to stop. You're going to have to keep playing. And I think when you have a team like that, you have to focus on your advantages. And ours is LeBron. And crunch time, it's AD. And that's where you got to go, to the well.
Show us again. You showed us in the pregame show. You said it was a combo sucker punch, cold cock. How does it go again?
It's more like the Bruce Lee one-inch punt. It's just a real quick.
Yeah, you got
that's it.
You got to do that a lot.
That's the one-inch punt, Bruce Lee. Just real,
But you got to do it a lot of times.
If you need to. Yeah, you got to have a lot of Bruce Lee punches.
Be Walter, my friend. Be Walter.
Let's go back to Mike. He's got Alex Caruso, AC Fresh, with him.
All right, Alex Caruso. So you just saw your teammate Anthony Davis there hit an incredible shot, three-pointer, just as the clock expires over Jokic. You've played with him now for this full season, but just take me through that moment from your perspective.
Yeah, I was sitting on the side. I saw Bron post up on somebody. I saw AD just, honestly, it looked a lot like Dame Lillard's shot against Houston a couple years ago, where he just sprinted across the court, caught it, and took a little left fade. Not quite as deep as his, but big-time shot by a big-time player. That's what AD does.
Alex, it was very selfless of you to miss that three earlier so that AD could get the glory. You've been a team player all season, so I get it.
Yeah, I knew AD hadn't gotten the shot in a minute, so I wanted to make sure he had the last one. No, man, all jokes aside, I honestly thought my shot was in. I was holding my follow-through and everything. Just came up a little short, but luckily DG, doing the things DG does, arguably best hands, sneaky cutter. He got in there, got the ball for us to be able to get AD the shot. Can't forget about that.
I'll be honest, I thought that was in two. You had several big plays throughout the night, Alex, some of them that don't show up in the stat sheet, some of them that do. What has your impact been on this series? How are you trying to assert yourself against this specific Denver team?
Yeah, just trying to make it tough on them, especially for Jokic and Murray. But we have to respect the guys that come off the bench that I go against in that second unit a lot, like Morris and Porter Jr., guys that are really, really efficient if you give them daylight. I don't know how many shots Morris missed tonight when he was open, and then Porter obviously is 6'10" and just shoots over you. So I think it's just about getting in there and just scrapping. That's what the playoffs are all about. It's about do or die mentality and just trying to bring that every possession I'm out there.
Hey, one of those big momentum plays you had was the dunk in the first half. I believe it came when Dwight rotated over, had a really nice defensive possession. AC, can you just take us through the PG version of what some of your teammates yell at you after a dunk like that?
Congratulations, nice 2-point dunk. Word for word.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Those kind of plays.
That's about it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know. That was kind of a bad question, right? What are you supposed to say with that one? All right. Last thing I want to ask you though. So Denver adjusted,
You
right?
said PG version. I give it to you.
No, you're right. Yeah. And you won. Last thing I want to ask you, Alex. So you knew Denver was going to adjust. They started taking away some of those transition opportunities. You guys weren't able to get out and run. You weren't really able to get into the paint much in the second half. What do you think you can do moving forward in this series to get back to what you do there?
Yeah, just pushing the pace. I don't think we were aggressive enough in the second half trying to get to the paint. I think we settled too much for maybe some outside jumpers and some late clock shots that, the more desperate team after losing game one, and they adjusted and dropped a bunch of bodies in the paint. But I think we just have to just go with the stronger willpower and get to the paint better.
All right, Alex, appreciate it, man.
Yep, thanks for talking, Mike.
Lakers win on a buzzer beater. Most playoff games won at the buzzer. Lakers 8, Celtics 6, Cavs 5, Bulls 5. Jerry West did it twice. Elgin Baylor, Robert Horry, D. Fish, Kobe Bryant, Metta World, and AD.
Ironic that on Mamba Day, when we're wearing the black jerseys, that we win on a Mamba shot.
No doubt.
That
Pretty
was a Mamba
amazing.
shot.
Very good point.
That was a Mamba shot.
And they are now 3-0, Brez, in the Mamba jerseys.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Guys, I want to talk about the three-point shooting. We kind of poked and prodded at it a lot during the seeding games, and it was kind of justified. The Lakers were dead last, 22nd out of 22 22 teams in the bubble when they all congregated there in three-point shooting. They just couldn't hit any threes. And all of a sudden, they were 8th going into tonight. They were okay going into the fourth quarter. They hit 5 in the last 7 minutes, guys. Those are some big threes. Obviously, you talked about the 2 by AD. Don't forget that kind of wild one by KCP, almost falling out of bounds as the shot clock ran out.
Forgot about that one.
Rondo hit one, and Danny Green hit one as well. So the team that could not hit threes when they first got to the bubble won the game primarily because of threes.
Hey, Prez, I said that stat a few moments ago. They're 34-4 when they shoot over 35%.
It's amazing.
It's not rocket science. I mean, this team defends so well. 24 turnovers, not good. But when you shoot over 35%, it's tough to beat this Laker team.
Yeah,
defensively, they're so good.
Yeah, I've had this talk with you guys. Okay, what shooters can they get next season? I mean, this team's already very, very good. Don't get me wrong. But how can they get some easier buckets? How can they make sure that when a guy's open in the corner, he's going to hit that three? Who could possibly come over here and help? And they might not need that. They didn't need it in the last 7.5 minutes tonight because the guys they had were hitting their threes for sure.
Yeah, I like the fact that they are confident in them. They missed a few. Danny Green, when you miss a few, your confidence could go down. One thing I like about Danny Green, he keeps his nose in the defense. And when it's time, late in the game, he hits big shots. So I like the fact that the Lakers are starting to hit that shot. I think the spacing is a little bit better, the way they run their offense, but I like the way they picked it up. They're going to need that, Brez, down the stretch.
I love the fact that you brought that up, what other shooters or possibly you can get in the offseason, all these different things. But when the continuity continues to grow, some of the guys that you already have just get better. They learn each other more. And now those shots that wasn't going in the first half or later in the season start going in. And this is the biggest stage, biggest moment. These guys are knocking down shots and they're buying into the culture, and that's why they're winning.
I mean, you looked at James, you said, is that who you thought would take the shot right before AD got his? It was Alex Caruso who on the swing.
It was a damn
Had a
good
wide
shot,
open
too.
shot. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's in his first playoff ever, and he's getting the look. So you got to credit this Laker team. One thing I noticed, guys, too, when you're watching this Laker team throughout these playoffs, just how versatile they are. Brez, they're closing big instead of small, at least up until that last 2 minutes, because of the Dwight with the Jokic matchup. So Dwight plays him on defense, then a loose ball, out of bounds, they take him out, they put in someone else for offense. You're able to do all those things when you have this kind of versatility on a team.
It's got to be confusing for the Denver Nuggets. I mean, the Lakers can come at you so many different ways, whether it's the punishing way of a Dwight Howard. Look, he's not what he was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, obviously, but he can kind of get under these guys' skin. I thought Jokic did very well tonight. That was not an issue tonight, much more of an issue in game one. But it's got to be weird for Denver to say, where's Danny Green? There's 2 minutes left in the game. He's on the bench. All right, and Caruso's out here. Just a lot of different ways this Laker team can beat you in the clutch.
Extremely versatile, and I think that you're exactly right. Being unpredictable is a key in the NBA right now. If you have talent that you can send in for 2 or 3 minutes to kind of offset, especially coming out of a timeout, what the opponents are doing, it could disrupt what they're trying to do because you got guys thinking now instead of running the play. So I think it's great that Vogel uses that. Put Morris in the lineup, McGee, Howard, mixing it up, making the opponents think about what they need to do, and also causing them to change their original plans.
Yeah, it really is, because it's a chess match. They can beat you with their bench play. Clearly, they can beat you with the dominance of AD and LeBron James, but they can come at you from, so many different angles. So it's interesting.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear from Frank Vogel. He's speaking with Mike in the media.
Hey, Frank, I wanted to ask you about both the shot itself and sort of how that play came about, what AD's read was versus what LeBron was trying to do and how Rondo was involved as the passer, and then also just the significance of the fact that he made it.
Well, obviously huge significance. We're up 2-0 now as a result of that. Just a big-time shot by a big-time player, and we have a set where we can basically isolate LeBron on a baseline out-of-bounds situation like that. Rondo came up, whispered in my ear about, do I want him in there as the passer? And obviously I said, heck yes. He made a great read on it, and Anthony flew over to the wing. He talked about missing that shot, that similar type of shot against Brooklyn right before the hiatus. And like I said, big-time shot by a big-time player.
Frank, what have you noticed about AD's temperament and just him as a person, him as a player throughout your year of coaching him, and how can that speak to the moment that he rose to it all?
Yeah, well, he's like I said, I keep saying it, he's a big-time player. He really carried us through a stretch where we were struggling to score late in the third. The combo of LeBron James and Anthony Davis is just, if one of them's not going, the other one is. And there was a little bit of that tonight when they're both going at the same time. We're near impossible to stop. And, those guys both carried each other throughout the game. And obviously a big part of the win.
Hey, Frank, it's Dave. These late game situations have been part of LeBron's game over the last 5-6 years, where he's become notorious for making those shots. And you have Anthony with the ability. You have got Kyle Kuzma, another young player who hit a game winner against Denver in the bubble down here. Does that just give you more options? Is there a pecking order? What's it like as a coach, trying to figure out what to do in this situation?
It depends. It depends on the matchup. It depends on who's been going. It depends on the coverage. The ability to have two targets out there. Obviously in this scenario with Rondo as the passer, being able to read the defense and which is more open, knowing both of them have that ability, makes us a big threat down the stretch. So, happy for those guys to win a game like that.
Hey Frank, AD in his walk-off, he talked a little bit about the questions about whether he wants the pressure and the fact that he hasn't been in the Western Conference Finals before. What do you think a shot like that in this kind of moment both can do for his confidence, and also I'm wondering what you saw in his confidence and in his willingness to take on that pressure in that moment?
Well, I've seen that from him all year, and just because his teams haven't been good enough to reach this moment doesn't mean that he's not that caliber of player. And we saw that tonight. No surprise by me, no surprise by our whole group, and hopefully there's more still to come.
Allie?
Sure. Kyle Goon.
Hey, Frank. Obviously, a very exhilarating way to win. But when you think about, you guys had a 16-point lead at one point, you had an 8-point lead with 3 minutes left. Are you sort of like, we kind of got away with one there?
Not really. It's a 48-minute game. Leads mean nothing against this team. They're a nightmare to guard. Give them credit for playing an outstanding basketball game. You know, even in the first half, while we had a lead, you know, they're playing well, and like I said, they're extremely difficult to guard, and they're well put together and they're well coached on a defensive end. This is a complete basketball team we're playing against. So leads me nothing. You got to play 48 minutes, and you know, luckily we were able to prevail down the stretch.
Over here, Jeff.
Frank, I know you said when you put Rondo in the game that he was sort of ready. Were you going to put him in the game anyway? Or did you guys just have a meeting of the minds?
Yeah, it was on my mind. You know, as I was about to look for him, he came over as a different passer. I'm like, heck yeah, let's go. Let's get him in.
Did you tell him to play on the way in? Or
He knew to play. Yeah, he saw what we were in, the formation we were in.
Anybody else over on the side? Tanisha, I'll throw it back to you.
Okay, we'll do last two here. Let's go with Bill Plaschke.
Yeah, Frank, the TNT cameras caught you telling the team it was a Mamba shot. Can you explain that?
Well, we want to embody what Kobe Bryant stood for, you know, and honor his memory. And obviously, you know, there's certain games where we're going to feel it a little bit more than others. You know, when we have that uniform on, I think we feel it more than others. And, you know, that's a shot Kobe Bryant would hit. You know, so to me, you know, AD coming off, you know, just flying through the wing like that with a catch and shoot, with the game on the line in the biggest moment of our season, nothing but net. It's a Mamba shot.
Yeah, Coach. You know, a lot of their comeback was done through Jokic really kind of getting switched onto your guards and working through that. How do you better control that moving forward, you know, guarding when he gets switched on the guards?
It's like I said, this team's a nightmare to defend. You know, the problems that he presents, along with Murray, along with their supporting cast, is a reason they're in the Western Conference Finals and a threat to beat us. You know, we have to do. I think we're doing a good job keeping bodies on bodies. You know, in those switching situations. But to try to get the ball out of, you know, to get out of those situations is complicated, and it's difficult. And you know, our guys are competing. We're doing a good job in a lot of situations, but not good enough. You know, hopefully this is one of those scenarios where each game that goes by, we get a little bit better each game, and continue to improve with that. And hopefully we're able to get another win, another 2 wins.
You can't make this stuff up. Big Game said it. They hit a Kobe-like shot to win the game in the Mamba jerseys. They're 3-0 now this postseason. 119 points per game, 41% from three, plus 10 in the point differential. And what's really cool, and it's going around Twitter right now, you got to check it out. AD hits that three and yells Kobe. Can't make it up. Can't make it up, James.
That was a Kobe shot. You know, we've seen Kobe hit a zillion of those. A zillion. Fading away, 3-pointers, 2-pointers, it didn't matter. And, you know, of course, of all the Laker players, you know, Magic, Kareem, Shaq, Kobe has his hand on this organization, you know, for what he's done, the memories. And you can sense, you know, and the way they're playing, especially LeBron, who had a good relationship with Kobe, that they're playing for him. And that was a big shot. For the first thing to come to your mind after hitting a big game-winning shot is to say Kobe.
Watch this. Yeah, you see his mouth right there. We'll show that again. This is right after he hits the shot. Yeah, you'll see it again. But anyways, Brez?
I half expected AD to pull his jersey aside like Kobe did after he beat the Suns.
Oh, good one,
back
Brez.
in 05 or 06,
Wow.
whichever year it was, and kind of show everybody. But this is really a phenomenal situation here. And watching this game, the second half, actually reminded me of when they faced each other in 09. And Denver had Kenyon Martin and Nene, and Billups was kind of grinding away. It was definitely a tough, almost ugly game. But you know what was pretty? The Lakers winning it and how they won it. I mean, AD just, correct me if I'm wrong, he got a Kobe tattoo after Kobe passed back in January. This means a lot to the Laker franchise and, of course, to Anthony Davis, too.
I think ultimately when you think about the legacy of, Kobe and the Lakers and, what they're trying to accomplish this season would be so special. And to have those jerseys on and to keep that undefeated thing going, 3-0. I just said, that's one of the things we was talking about in the room. I was just like, I do not want them to lose in these jerseys.
You did say that.
I do not want them.